Now for global business updates, Rotus Oddiri joins us. Good morning, Rotus.
Good morning, Dr.
I don't want to hear about airports in your own state.
Congratulations.
Gateway International is the best.
Gateway. All right. Congrats to all Ogun State residents.
Rotus,
You're doing good work.
Rotus, for the first time I censor you. If I hear PIM, I know. Yeah, yes, business case is a problem. I know. But today we are celebrating. If I hear PIM,
Nope, not a word, Rufai. Not a word. Good morning to you, Ayo. Good morning. Good morning to all our viewers. We kick off with Dr. Abati's favorite assets, which is gold. Look at this. Look at this. 4,030 this morning. It has crossed 4,000. 53.5% year-to-date gain. But look, why Dr. Abati has talked about this countless times. It is investor jitters that has continued to push money into gold. Rufai and Ayo, you are different. Dr. Abati, you're all talking about the UK, lack of ideas, the big hole in the public finances. Will Rachel Reeves raise taxes or cut spending? The US, there are about 9,000 flights that have been delayed because of the government shutdown, because there are not enough airport workers there. France, today is the deadline now for Sébastien Lecornu to come up with the issue with his cabinets there. So look at this. This is the trend line here. I mean, this is coming from December 31st now all the way to where we are as of yesterday, October 7th. I mean, this is just, remember, it touched $3,000 in March of this year, and now look at where we are. So again, just to remind everybody, it is mostly investors just worried about what's going on around the world that is making them to push funds into gold. All right, from there we go to the big news this morning. ABB, which is a Swedish a Swedish engineering firm, been around since about 1988 or so. Their robotics division, ABB Robotics, is being purchased by Masayoshi Son's SoftBank. Rufai talks about him a lot. We saw him in Saudi Arabia last year at the Future Investment Summit. This is subject to regulatory approval. The deal is supposed to close sometime in 2026. It's still an AI play. So I think their revenues were about 2.3 billion last year. Look at a quote from Masayoshi Son himself. He says SoftBank's next frontier is physical AI. There's agentic AI, there's all types of AI. This is physical. Together with ABB Robotics, we will unite world-class technology and talent under our shared vision to fuse artificial superintelligence and robotics. We've played countless videos here of robots doing laundry, picking up boxes and stuff like that. All this money is just flowing into what the future is going to look like, powered by artificial intelligence. To Nigeria now. Can't stop talking about the all-share index, 40.8% as of yesterday's trade. It was up by about 12 basis points. Year-to-date gain, Rufai, I know in Naira, year-to-date gain in Naira for the all-share index in stocks, 40.8%, but it's still pretty healthy. You know, we still continue to see investors moving into Nigeria space. Now, we are going to round off with Nigeria here. Some really important news with the FTSE Russell. We talk about, it's an index provider. If you've watched the Global Business Reports or even heard Dr. Abati talking about the different indexes around the world. The FTSE 100, for instance, in the UK, that looks at the top 100 most capitalized stocks. The FTSE 250, even in the US, the Russell 2000, the Russell 3000. FTSE Russell provides indexes for investors to assess how companies are performing. They are now looking at reclassifying Nigeria. They've put Nigeria back on a watch list to put Nigeria back on its frontier market index. Nigeria was removed because of foreign exchange issues, but as a result of the liberalization of the exchange rate and clearing out the FX backlog now, the FTSE now is looking again at Nigeria. I've got a couple quotes from there. They said, as a result of the recommendations received from the FTSE Equity Country Classification Advisory Committee and the FTSE Russell Policy Advisory Board, the FTSE Russell Index Governance Board approved the addition of Nigeria to the FTSE watch list. That's I'm putting in the watch list to look at them for possible reclassification from unclassified to frontier market status. And this is like the JP Morgan bond index. It's going to put Nigeria back in the purview of major investors that look at this index. Following confirmation from market participants, right, that the previous reported delays in the ability to repatriate capital from Nigeria, the FX issues we saw in the last administration, and associated foreign exchange queues that resulted in Nigeria being downgraded to unclassified market status from September 2023 have been cleared since the beginning of 2025. So, again, this is, it is, evidence that clearance of the backlogs, the fund flows of FX into Nigeria now, the policy reform of FX, these are the kind of dividends that it pays. So again, we're just on the watch list. They haven't made the decision, but they're at least saying that market participants have said, hey, Nigeria's FX issues, they have been cleared. So let's look at Nigeria once more. SEC Nigeria has put out, look, the SEC, I don't know how they do this. This job is really hard. To spot all these digital Ponzi schemes and all these funny looking businesses that are online, it's a really difficult job because there's just so many and it's a large digital space. But they've issued a warning to Nigerians to watch out for one particular company. It's called AfriQuantum X. I think they do crypto or something. But the commission hereby informs the public that AfriQuantum MX is not registered by the commission either to solicit investments from the public or operate in any capacity within the Nigerian capital market. So again, I've asked people, tag the Arise News handle on Twitter, tag me. If you ever have any questions, tag the SEC of any particular investments. You've got to do your due diligence for putting money in there. I think we'll round off. See, this is why I love business, right? We can talk about almost anything that has to do with money. So Ronaldo, just to round off, has joined the sports billionaire club along with Roger Federer in tennis and Michael Jordan in basketball. His net worth is now $1.4 billion. He signed a new $400 million contract with Al Nassr in Saudi Arabia. And unlike other athletes whose net worth mostly comes from endorsement deals, this is mostly from the salary he's gotten. So he's got a wealth manager in Portugal that is looking over his estate. And Ronaldo mostly invests in Portugal. He owns a ceramic company. He started a couple other businesses there, but he puts most of his money back. So congrats to him. And as a Manchester United fan, a suffering Man United fan, it's just we're happy for him and his wealth. That's our updates for today.
I never really have football affiliations. It's like music to my ears.
Yeah? Yeah, here we are, man.
You support Manchester United.
I'm a suffering fan, but we're doing well.
I know you're in brilliant company with somebody that supports Man United but never openly confirms. But when Man United wins, it's very triumphant. That just happens to be on this table anyway. But it just shows the power of sports and what is happening. But yes, we're happy about putting us back on the FTSE Russell, on a watch list. Because yes, we've been able to clear the encumbrances, although it was a journey clearing that. At some point it wasn't cleared off completely, but finally it's been cleared, and now we're getting to a position of parity back, all right? But you see, my point is still the fact that what we celebrate as parity between both markets, I'm talking about the parallel market and the official market, is a farce. Because that's not the same true value of the Naira.
What?
Yes.
Wait. You're saying the narrowing of the gap between the official market and the...
It's a farce.
Okay, why is that?
Because the Naira has not still found its true value. The value as it is today is undervaluing of the Naira. The true value, a lot of experts, based on purchasing power parity, have muted, should be about 1,100 thereabout. So unless we get there, let's also put that in mind. The Naira is still grossly undervalued as we speak. And you can, get data. And one other point I wanted to raise with you, Rotus, is as regards these new borrowings they want to.
Okay.
I don't have problems with borrowing, but there's something I quipped up there. They said out of the over 2 billion they're borrowing, about 1.12 billion will be for maturing Euro bonds.
Yep.
But my question is, why borrow to pay maturing Euro bonds where you already claim you have a reserves that are healthy at about 42 billion?
Right. So the reserves are mostly for import cover. So you cannot take money that is supposed to cover imports, right? To go and now say you want to use it to pay back Euro bonds. You're supposed to be using your oil proceeds, the income that you earn to settle your debts. It's like anybody with a salary. That's how it's supposed to work.
If you check the dispensation of the Euro bonds, of our reserves, what we used it to pay majorly were some of these bond calls. We use it to pay them consistently. In fact, if you check around June or July, where we had a massive drop in our foreign reserves, it was these international bond calls that we used to pay.
Well, it's not fiscally,
you see my point now. That's why I'm asking, why the need to now go to that same Euro market, dip in as regards borrowing, when you have 42, you can clear with 1 billion, then also reflect when you get your forex inflow through your oil.
Well, maybe you should get into government and be the finance minister.
I mean, that's the point.
We'll
just have
point
a
well
few,
made.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
few seconds to go. But gold appreciating, of course, one of the things that has been said is the weakening of the dollar as well since Trump came in. Remember that just before he won the election, his campaign, his talk around trade policies, for America, in favor of America and tariffs, had boosted investor confidence, thinking that it would benefit and strengthen the dollar. Unfortunately, it's done the opposite.
Yeah.
And so a lot more people are putting their money in gold as they see it as a more, it's more reliable. It's it's a safe haven for a number of investors.
Yeah.
Also, retail investors have come into the mix as well. So people like maybe you,
we have an ETF and the NGX. You got that has exposure to gold here in Nigeria, so
exactly.
you can invest
That's also what's taking up the
Dr.
price
Bati
as
is
well.
there, don't worry.
Yeah, I know. That's why he's very interested in gold. Every time he's looking and studying the gold prices to see how his investment is doing. But it's good. I mean, it's good for people to see how to diversify their portfolio and see areas to put money in a safe haven. But also, when we talk about sports, Rotus, I'm really excited about that. And I think in the next few years, the people we're going to be talking about when it comes to billionaires are going to be people in the creative sector and in and sports as well. So for Nigeria, I'm looking forward to also having that opportunity where our athletes will not just have their heydays or have their high season and then when they retire, it's gone, but actually have sustainable wealth and be like the Ronaldos of this world who have wealth managers to help them beyond the lifetime of their active years and actually be able to build wealth as opposed to just earning very high salaries. So really good one for him.
Okay, confession. I don't own a gold bar. However, many of the people who are investing in gold, they are investing in the exchange trust funds, what is called ETFs, which is also backed by gold. Yeah. But the interest in gold exceeding $4,000 per ounce, the highest rate since the 1970s, speaks to the uncertainty within the global economic system. 2, the weakening of the dollar. The dollar is weaker today. And then so much uncertainty, exacerbated also by the fact that the shutdown of the U.S. government is entering the second week. And so what people are trying to do is that they are trying to look for safeguard. And gold will seem to provide that kind of safeguard. Now, Ray Dalio of Bridgewater, in fact, says that people should keep about 15% of their portfolio investments in the area of gold, because that's the surest thing to do. So the issue is about the uncertainty. We survived the September curse, which I talked about earlier on this program, I think last week, because September is the month when, the markets, do not do well. But this year, we saw that the markets in the U.S. Survived. The S&P 500 did well. NVIDIA did well. OpenAI did well. Even Intel, recorded a lot of successes. Although that has now gone down with the shutdown of the U.S. government entering the second week, and President Trump and Scott Bessent saying that many federal workers will be followed, and that when they are followed, they may not come back. And then there's this division, ideological division in the U.S., not as bad as what they have in France at the moment, but at least that is a problem. Now, very quickly, China is looking for investors. They are looking for investors. They are promising investors heaven and earth, because after the following the crisis with the U.S., many of the investors left. But the investors are apprehensive because they are worrying about not just the deflationary trend in China, but also the fact that capital control, is a major issue in China. So whether the investors will return or not, and whether China will be able to achieve its objective of 5.5% GDP growth this year is something that we should monitor. But in the meantime, the markets in China and South Korea, they've been on holiday. So we cannot properly measure, how those markets there are behaving. Thank you very much, Rotus.
Thank you.